Let us not dawdle, for there are grudges to settle, and new entries in the Dammer's Cron to right!
Howdy, howdy, Stu Devil here, and welcome to another match between the Dwarfs and the Beastmen, featuring AWizardLizard, who I think is a dwarf in disguise. He just is an unbelievably beautiful game. So I'll go over the armies, and then we'll go through the game, because this game is so fun to watch. There's so many clever things done in it. It's a very high-level game. So for his build, and now for the Beastmen, we, like a lot of our experts, when we polled our experts on this matchup, say the Beastmen have a pretty good advantage against the Dowie. Some believe a hard counter. They are in the top 3 hardest factions for the Dowie to counter. So this is an absolutely fascinating build, and AWizardLizard is playing an amazing player in Pacifist Warlord, who's like top 100, really solid, knows what he's doing. So we'll go over the army first for the Dwarfs, and then we'll go over the Beastmen. So this, first of all, this front line is actually just unbelievably clever, and it's such an interesting idea. So he's got 2 dwarf warriors just on the edges of his front line. He's got 2 miners down sort of this middle pocket like that, and he's got the Warriors of Dragonfire passed right in the center. So these sort of his strongest unit right in the center, and these 2 miners are actually going to really struggle in that front line. Right behind him, though, he does have hammers here, where he has 2 units of hammers. He has hammers back here who can support into that front line. So in his back line, he has the Dragonback Slayers and just a regular group of Slayers, and he also has 2 gyrocopters with brimstone guns on his edges. And for his range pressure, he actually has 4 quarters. Now, quarters are not that great against chariots, but what they are really good against is harpies. So if he's going to bring gyrocopters and protect him against the Beastmen can absolutely shut down gyrocopters. So really, he has the quarters here for the harpies and to put pressure on Beastmen infantry and whatever he can. You know, maybe he's going to see something like a chaos spawn or something goofy like a giant. But and then for the leadership, there's a really great leadership package. So he actually has a Rune Lord, and he has more than just the Rune of Wrath and Rune. He also has the Rune of Hearth and Home, so 55 meters immune to psychology. So if you look, he has some Slayers, but everything else is not immune to psychology. So with that Rune of Hearth and Home, he makes the key part of his army immune to fear and terror. And he also has himself a Runesmith. So he has a Rune of Wrath and Rune, but he also has this Hammer of Karak Draws. Now this Hammer of Karak Draws, minus 44 melee attack, minus 25% weapon damage for 50 seconds, 50 seconds. You basically eliminate a unit's capabilities for 50 seconds. So, we'll get to the Lizardmen army, and for this Lizardmen army, he does have a Razorgore Chariot, and you're going to see these are anti-infantry. They have 48 weapon strength. What is their bonus versus infantry? It is bonus versus infantry is 24, really high. So you're going to see chariots. He does also have, does he have 2 of these chariots or just 1? He has 1. He also has 2 units of the Razorgore Herd. They have 52 weapon strength. They do cause fear. They have a big charge bonus of 46, and they're armor piercing, so you're going to see those, but they are a large target, and he has 2 of them. For his front line, he actually has 2 Ungor Herds. They have stock, I believe, and Vanguard deployment. Is that correct? Ungor Herd. Immune to psychology. Oh, because he's got his Primal Fury. But he has, yeah, stock and Vanguard. And he's Vanguarded it with the Ulthar's Raider, or Ungor Raiders on this side, and he did the same on this side with 2 Ungor Raiders. So he has 3 Ungor Raiders and 2 Ungor Herd. Down the center, he has 3 Gore Herds with shields. Obviously, he just wants to take some range pressure. His heavy hitters are right here. He has 4 Bestigor Herds. These are actually very, very good unit, armor piercing. They aren't anti-infantry, but they got decent stats, 40 melee attack, although they have low melee defense at 24. And for his backline is Ungor Spearmen, and they are around his Bray Shaman of Shadows, who has the Penumbral Pendulum and the Enfeebling Foe, minus 26 melee defense, minus 26 melee attack, and he has, every time he casts a spell, Smoke and Mirrors for 24 seconds, plus 12% speed to his entire army. And for his leadership, he has a Beast Lord on a chariot. and that gives him 28 bonus versus infantry, so he has 37 melee attack, 20 melee defense. His melee defense is not great, his armor is not great, but he has 400 weapon strength and a charge bonus of 103. It's absolutely crazy. For his kit, he has the Totem of Rust, -6 armor within 40 meters of him at all times, and he just has Primal Fury. So we're going to get this thing going right away. Right away, AWizardLizard is just going to push his army up because he just wants to sort of get engaged, and he's going to look for targets with his gyrocopters. He goes, okay, I sees the Beast Lord, the Razorgores rather. He's going to sort of head up this way, and he's going to keep his eye open. He just wants to get these Rangers working, or these Quarterlers working. The Quarterlers have tons of ammo, so he doesn't care if he's shooting them into Ungor herd. He wants to get that early damage and keep it going. So he does see these Ungor raiders, and he pulls his gyrocopters back, and he says, okay, well, I want to take this gyrocopter up and over against that Razorgore chariot, and I just want to keep the pressure on these Ungor herds. I've got these Gore herds going, I've got that Ungor herd, and really this Gore herd is coming in. He's just sort of changing his line out, sort of shifting it a little bit this way, and he's going to get this fight going now. The Warriors of Dragonfire pass against the Gore Herder shield. He doesn't have to worry about it all. He wants to reshift his line to make sure this side's okay. Now, these miners are not going to do all that great against the Gore Herd, but they can hold them. These Gore Herd are not going to do anything against these Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. And you can see these guys are trying to sort of get around the side, these Ungors, and get up against the Slayers, because that's the matchup they want. So he wants to pull these Dwarf Warriors aside and just intercept over here. Meanwhile, the Gyrocopter with Brimstone Gun is after this Razorgore Chariot, and the Beastman player is trying to go way around, and sort of find a way right into the back line like that. And he's going to come with his units this way and do the same thing, way around, try and find the back way like that. So you can see what AWizardLizard has. He sort of has this backline pocket like this, and he has both his Slayers so they can collapse in, and he does have these hammers so he can go this way, or he can support the front line. Now these hammers, you can see, are already going to come in, just give a little bit of support to this front line over here where the miners are. Because the miners are going to lose to the Gore Herd, so he's just, I'm just going to come in and just give a little bit of a bounce to this side, support here. Alright, so he's got already, these Bestigore herds are targeted with the Quarters. And the Quarters don't have armor piercing. These guys do have armor, but they do not have shields, so they're going to do some damage. And you can see they're just whittling them away. They've got a little bit of damage going on them right now, and he's sort of trying to get outside with these Dwarf Warriors and just keep shooting on these Bestigore herds. So here comes some really beautiful plays. So this is, before we get going too, always, this is, again, you can see these units still haven't got engaged because really AWizardLizard chose sort of an asymmetrical lineup. So he lined up sort of like this, and the Lizard lineup was way wide. So these guys have had to wheel around to come to this side. These guys were very close. Alright, so this Dwarf Warriors here is going to have to deal with the Bestigore Herd. This Bestigore Herd has got into the miners. You know the miners can absolutely not handle that. So he does have two Quarters in here fighting there, and there, boom, hits him with the Rune of Wrath and Rune and the Master Rune of Wrath and Rune. They're going to do a ton of damage against that Bestigore Herd. These Bestigores are coming in against the Dwarf Warriors over here. These Dwarf Warriors will not last very long. So you're going to see here, to support, he's also going to bring in his Rune Lord just to come in and fight. And you can see, look at how fast these Bestigores are losing health. Unbelievable. The Rune Lord's going to come in. We've got the two Quarters, and they're fighting miners. Like, they're fighting miners. And so this is absolutely unbelievable. You can see already these Gore Herd with shields have broken because they actually went right up against the strongest part of his front line. He's pushed them out, and he said, okay, I'm just going to come back in and support the Gore Herd with shield, and I'm going to pull these hammers back out because I don't need them anymore because I've broken the line, and these Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are ready to go back in the line so I can use my hammers in another spot. Like, this is just absolutely stunning play, really. So now these Dwarf Warriors, he knows he cannot hold these Bestigores for long. Already these Bestigores are routing, and they're going to start pushing away, and the miners can chase them down. He knows they can't handle this for very long, so in comes the hammers, and in comes this Runesmith. The Runesmith is going to use the Hammer of Karak draws and actually wipe away their melee attack. This is absolutely beautiful play. Beautiful play. And you're going to see he comes over here, and boom, Hammer of Karak draws. The Bestigore Herd now have minus 44 melee attack. They have 0 melee attack for the next 50 seconds and minus 25% weapon damage. So you can see now the Dwarf Warriors are going to be able to hold. He's got one supporting quarter, and these hammers are going to come in and absolutely demolish them. So he is actually doing his best to get his gyrocopter with brimstone guns working on this Razor Gore chariot. You can see, because the gyrocopters, we got some pressure on right away, that all this army is coming in very late into this pocket. But this whole side is actually going to be very hard. And this penumbral pendulum is absolutely beautiful. It gets the quarters here, and it gets these quarters, goes right through. So this side is getting through. So he's trying to support here with the gyrocopter with the brimstone gun against the Bestigor herd. But these Bestigors and these Gore herds have gotten through. So he's got his Slayers over, his Dragonback Slayers over here, which is not the best. But he has managed to pull his hammers in. You're going to see he's going to try and get his quarters back and his Slayers back, because he knows down the pipe comes these units. But what you'll notice is the way that he played this front line is absolutely brilliant. He's got rid of these Bestigors. He's actually done really good on this side, and he's pushed everything out like this. These guys are not going to be long for this world, and created a new pocket. So he's got this one right here, so he can collapse in like that with his Slayers, but he's also created space, and you can see he's going to use that space. He's created space right here in where his old front line was for his quarters. This is absolutely brilliant gameplay. So now we're going to see these Razor Gore chariots are coming into the line, getting a rear charge on these Dwarf Warriors and getting into the hammers. So he's going to try and shut them down. He's going to put all his resources on the Razor Gore chariot. He's going to put his Lord on it, his miners. He's going to get everything to collapse in on the Razor Gore chariot, because he absolutely cannot have them beating the crap out of his hammers. And they very, very quickly rout. And they also get this Bestigor herd, so now these guys are gone. This side of his line is actually very, very stable, but this side of his line is absolutely getting inundated. And you can see we've got the enfeebling foe for the minus 27 melee attack, minus 27/6 melee defense over here. And this is the worst thing that could happen, is a unit like the Ungor herd getting here into the cookie jar where the quarters are. They're going to muck everything up. The Beastman player wants them fighting Slayers so that his Razor Gores can actually fight against the quarters. This is the absolute worst thing that can happen. Now, this Razor Gore herd did get in, but he was able to get them. But the second one, they're going to get into the cookie jar. And here comes some absolutely beautiful play. So in comes the Beast Lord. Really, he's pushing in. These guys are in. He's got no answer for them right here. None. There's no infantry here. These hammers are too far away. They've got to come back. He's just got Slayers, which he does not want fighting them, and he's got these Razor Gore herds. So what does he do? He's finishing up a bombing run right here. So he's managed to get a bombing run here with his gyrocopters. And look what he does. He's going to go back, and I think he's going to do one more set of bombs. Boom, bombing run to help support his hammers. Then boom, puts them in melee mode, and he's going to rear charge these Ungor herds, because he has to rout them. He has to get them out of there because they're mucking up everything. This is absolutely beautiful gameplay. He's got these gyrocopters actually chasing and charging into the Bestigor herd down here, and he's got everything coming in here because he just has to get this Ungor herd routing, and he just has to get this Razor Gore herd routing, and then he can create a new back line. Now these quarters have been beat up by the Beast Lord. There's nothing he can do. We got more Bestigors coming in after the quarters, but he is able to rout the Ungors, and he's able to shatter the Razor Gores. So now they are out, and he can bring his gyrocopter back in the air and look for new targets kind of here and here. And he really wants to get those Bestigors. And you can see that the hammers over here were actually completely annihilated. He's got some Ungors he's got to deal with, so he's going to send his hammers and his Slayers. And he wants to keep pushing away on this side and trying to create somewhere where he can operate over here so he can push out, but he's just got too many troops. He's got more Gur herds coming back here. These Bestigors are coming in, and really he's trying to get rid of these Bestigors by just charging with the brimstone gun before they get in there, and he's getting some shots against the Ungor Raiders, and now he really wants to get after this Bray Shaman of Shadows, and if he can catch him, he's not going to get away. Another Penumbral Pendulum comes against these quarters. He's brought his troops back into this pocket because he has to deal with the Gore herd, and he's got his gyrocopter still fighting the Bestigors, which isn't the best. The Dragonback Slayers cannot catch that damn Bray Shaman, so they're going to come and engage the Bestigors. He's got to get his gyrocopter out of there because it's getting beat up. He's got to go somewhere else and get some work done. So the gyrocopter with the Runesmith can come over and get this fight going, but they got to stop this freaking Bestigor. So he's going to come back in because he doesn't want his quarters to get beat up, and he's going to engage these Bestigors with his Runesmith, and he's got to come in. He's going to do a quick bombing run with his Gyrocopter on these Ungor Raiders. He's managed to shatter these Bestigors, does another bombing run. This is unbelievable play. Like, everything is happening so fast. He's got his Runesmith coming in here fighting this Bestigor herd, and now he's really got to find a good place for his Gyrocopter, his Brimstone's gun. He's actually pushed everything out here with his leader and a group of miners, of all things. And now these Bestigors are actually beating the tar out of these quarters. Really nothing, just doing everything he can to stop it. So now he's trying to collapse back in, but he's got Bestigors here, he's got Ungors here, he's got pressure from the outside. He is trying to shoot now this Beast Lord, and this is another beautiful play. So he's got the hammers and the Slayers are going to hit that Beast Lord. He's got the Rune of Wrath and Rune on these Bestigors. And now he's going to put the Master Rune of Wrath and Rune on this Beast Lord so he can't get away. So he sees he's getting shots in with his Brimstone guns, both of them. This Beast Lord is going to notice he's taking damage. He's going to try to get the heck out of dodge because he knows he's taking damage. And these two guys have got routed now. One of them got shattered. He's going to hit this Beast Lord with the Master Rune of Wrath and Rune. Boom. Minus 48% speed, 37 speed, so now these Slayers can keep up, and now he can keep shooting with the Gyrocopters with Brimstone guns. He's got these Dragonback Slayers have come in to fight the Ungor Raiders and these Bestigor herd over here, but you can see he's got the continuous pressure on this Beast Lord. In comes some more shots, boom, down to 900 health, boom, down to 800 health, and this Bestigor here, this Beast Lord here now has routed. So now it's time for the Gyrocopter to do what they need to do and just escort him off the field. You just need to escort him off the field and then keep fighting here. He's got to get rid of these Bestigor so he could put another Hammer of Carrick draws. They're down to zero melee attack, so he can actually fight him with his Runesmith, his Rune Lord all day. They can't do nothing. He can just he just has to keep fighting with they're going to get their damage done, and now he has to escort this Beast Lord off. So he's got his Gyrocopter, the Brimstone guns. You can just see it's wavering, but it just has to escort him off, and he has to make sure this Bestigor herd goes. He's got both these guys are waving. He's going to keep taking shots and try and get this guy's health. So see, he rallied there really quick, and then he's routing again. You can see he's going to take another shot at him, and he's just going to charge into the Bestigor. He's going to make sure these guys rout, and he's going to push them off with his Gyrocopters. He absolutely has to. Now over on this side, now that there's nothing over here, there's nothing that can contest the Dawi leadership. I mean, there's these Bestigors over here, but there's very, very little that's armor piercing. He's pushing these guys off the battlefield. He's just making absolutely sure they're not coming back. And really now it's time to just fight with the Rune Lord and the Runesmith, and they can essentially take on everything by themselves now. You know, with the exception of the Bestigor. So he still has to deal with the Bestigors, but he's able to just take this Beast Lord. This is what Gyrocopters are amazing for the Dawi, and escort him off the battlefield. Make sure he goes, and he's actually stopped firing. He's just escorting him off the field, so now he's still got some bullets left, so he's going to come back into the fight. And now this Gyrocopter has no more shells left, so he's going to come in. Wants to save his hammer, so he's going to actually rear charge that Bray Shaman. He's going to try and save his hammers. Boom, gets in there for a rear charge. Time to bring in his leadership into here so he can get fighting the Gore Herd and the Bray Shaman. He really is trying to save those guys. Now, these guys, these Gore Herds, these Ungor Raiders are trying to come and get into the Slayers. The Slayers are chasing off of these Ungor Raiders. A beautiful little play here. He's going to take his Slayers to help escort these guys off, and he's going to take his Dwarf Warriors who have shields and armor to go and fight these Ungor Raiders. Just a gorgeous split here. Unbelievable. Great micro while he's fighting over here. Right units on right units. Just great decision making. You know, the Slayers can take these guys and escort them off. Then they don't have to get shot by these Ungor Raiders, and in comes the Dwarf Warriors. And now he's got his Gyrocopter with Brimstone guns here, shooting at this Bray Shaman. Boom. Just beautiful, beautiful. These Gyrocopters have been so unbelievable in this. And he's got this guy routing. He's got the Dwarf Warriors about to engage here. His leaders are fine. This Gyrocopter is routing off these Gore Herds. Just unbelievable gameplay, and now everything's going to go to army losses as soon as these Ungor Raiders get engaged, and that is the game. Unbelievable. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful play. You know, I just absolutely love the way that AWizardLizard set up his front line with very specifically one strong spot in the middle, 120 kills with these Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. Unbelievable, fantastic. But the miners were just in the middle, and the 24 and 9 for miners is so good. And the funny thing is, these miners with the 24 kills, I think they got them on Bestigors, because they got to chase some of them off, like unbelievable, or at least 9 on Bestigors, whatever it is. Now these 9 on Bestigors, and you know, he had the strong part in the center and sort of the weaker sides on the outside. Dwarf Warriors 25 and 10, but he supported with these hammers where the weak spots were, and his magic with the runes of Wrath and Rune, and the Hammer of Karak draws, and just absolutely created a new space for his quarters. Now, he got 2 of his quarters in there for a very brief time, but he really was inundated. Like, the Beastmen are hard to play. Like, they're fast, and they get in there, and, you know, you look, this Beast Lord got 173 kills. That's no joke. So for the rest of his line, 103 kills for the Slayers, 65 and 59 for the Hammers, 101 for the Dragonback Slayers, and for this quarters, like, this is actually a really clever way to support these gyrocopters. Like, so I mean, what you don't see in battles are all the builds you need to be prepared for. And against the Beastmen, you absolutely have to be prepared for 2 things: Cygors and Harpies. If you're not prepared for those 2 things, I mean, you just might as well just exit out of the game and you know, when you see them on the field, because Harpies can be really crushing to the Dowie, and they can absolutely demolish gyrocopters. And so really, this is what the quarters are. Harpies have no armor, so quarters are very, very good at taking them down. And then really, 2 gyrocopters can actually whittle down a Cygor pretty decently, and then you can get in there with the rest of it. So really, really fun build. 28 and 25 the gyrocopters, but the play with the gyrocopters was next level. Like, because he got both of his gyrocopters, did both of their bombing runs. They switched in and out of melee combat to do rear charges, and he used his gyrocopter for that middle center package rear charge against the Ungors to just quickly rout them. He had nothing else to fight those Ungors. He just like took his gyrocopters right from a bombing run, put them in melee mode and rear charge to break them, and then he just was escorting units off and sending them in to, you know, against a shaman to help sort of lower their leadership. Unbelievable play with the gyrocopters, just absolutely top tier. And for the Beastmen, you know, Beast Lord is actually a really good pick, obviously. 173 kills, did really good. The Bray Shaman, 25 kills. You know, the Bray Shaman was one of the last units to go, and the Bray Shaman was on foot. I think you can put the Bray Shaman on a chariot. I don't know. That's probably a better choice. You know, you probably want to be careful with your magic. Ungor Spearman Herd and the Ungor Herds are really just sort of chaff. The Gore Herd with shields, we know what they were for, but they're really 32, 28, and 3 with the Ungor Herd. That's not bad. Like 32 with a 300 gold unit. The Ungor Spearman is like 325, 350, I don't know. Very, very good. So it wasn't a bad choice. 20, 81, and 19 with the Gore Herd with shields. Again, not awful. The Gore Herd themselves are actually pretty good. 75, 141, 22, and 67 the Bestigor Herd. Bestigors are fantastic infantry, and you have to expect them. You have to be able to deal with them. 28, 18, and 21 with the Raiders, actually not too bad against the Dowie. Really, what AWizardLizard did a fantastic job at shutting down was that Razorgore Chariot, both Razorgore Herds, and really the Bestigor Herds. I mean, he didn't get these guys. They were sort of the last ones to come in, 75 and 141, but these guys with 22 and 67 crushed them. Absolutely demolished him in that front line, made himself a new front line. So absolutely love this game. So fun, so much micro, so intense, and a good clear plan. You know, my coach Aurora Boss is always telling me, you know, have a goal in mind, you know, have a plan. And you can see how AWizardLizard had a plan. Now, he couldn't execute it all because he's fighting, you know, he's playing against a, you know, world-class player who's not going to let him do all of his plan. But the way he expanded his front line to create a new pocket for his quarters was absolutely brilliant. And his gyrocopter play was out of this world. I don't know. I'd love to hear comments from you guys. I mean, on this game down below, and you know, what you thought of the game, what you thought of the build for the Dwarfs, what you thought of the build for the Beastmen. This is a tough matchup for the Dowie. I mean, I know they won here, but this was next level play and micro. AWizardLizard never made one single bad decision. You know, you could see his micro was obviously stretched with those two gyrocopters because there's a few points that, you know, maybe his slayers ran a little too far away or his hammers ran a little too far chasing when they shouldn't have. I mean, it wasn't, there was just the tiny little ones like that because microing gyrocopters is super intense even if you have one. So this was a pretty unbelievable game to really demonstrate what can be done. So I'd absolutely love to hear from you. And if you're a Beastmen main, I'd love to hear from you. Their Beastmen are actually the least played faction in multiplayer, yet they have the highest win rate in multiplayer, which is really interesting. I guess they're a DLC faction. You know, most of the people who play the Beastmen know who they beat, and that's who they pick. So Beastmen players, obviously Pacifist Warlord knows the Beastmen are a good matchup against the Daoi, and so that's why he would pick the Beastmen in this matchup. It just happens that AWizardLizard had a magnificent army, and you know, he just was on point with every single decision. I absolutely love this game. I watched it about probably 5 times before I've casted it. It's just, there's so much going on that, I mean, if there's one of those games, if you do not watch it a few times before you cast it, you can't keep up because there's so many really, really good decisions that all matter in a game where you start out at a deficit with the Daoi against the Beastmen. So I'd love to hear from you down below. I always ask for comments because I love comments. Even if you just drop it in to say hi, I mean, I always try and say hi back. With that said, I hope you found this game interesting, and I'll see you soon.